It's not easy being a dick. Oh, hello. Let me introduce myself. The name's Kapooey, Hughie Kapooey, and I'm a PI, a private investigator, if you will. It's a tough job, but somebody's got to do it. Most of the work, exactly what you'd expect. Find out who's skimming a little off the top of the account, catch a cheating husband or wife, sometimes causing a wife to cheat, if you know what I mean, or occasionally a husband. Well, this case was different. Something about it was different, and I don't think I'll ever forget it. The case of the really, really orangey thing was perhaps my most memorable case to date. So, how did it all happen?
Mr. Kapooey, there's a lady here to see you. Are you busy?
A lady, eh? Sounds interesting. I've got a minute.
Would you like me to take notes?
Sure, why not?
Are you him? The famous private investigator?
In the flesh. The best dick in town.
Oh, Mr. Kapooey, I need your help.
I'm listening.
Well, you see, something happened at work.
Which is where?
Miss Perks, will you let the lady tell her story in peace?
Oh, sorry. I work at the Wandering Cat Club in Soho. I work behind the bar, but really I'm a dancer.
I see.
I don't know how to describe it, but yesterday morning I had to go into the back office to get some more of those little cocktail umbrellas. You know the ones?
I do indeed. The little papery ones, the ones that sort of pop up. Absolutely ingenious, I'd say.
Yes, well, I went into the back office and I just remember there being this incredible orange light. There was this sort of really orangey thing on the desk, but then I must have passed out because the next thing I knew, it was several hours later and I was lying on the floor of the office. But Mr. Kapooey, the really strange thing was that I was wearing completely different clothes.
Astonishing.
And now all I can think about is, what was the really, really orangey thing? Why were my clothes different? Please, you've got to help me. McFlusie, Susie McFlusie.
Miss McFlusie, how long have you worked at the Wandering Cat?
2 years next month.
And you say you're a dancer. What's your specialism? Tap? Jazz? A bit of in, out, shake it all about? I do love a bit of hokey pokey. That sounded better in my head.
Well, to be honest, I'm probably better at the bar stuff. I mean, I make a mean, screaming orgasm, but I do love a long, comfortable screw.
Really?
That's the one with the sloe gin and whiskey, right?
Oh, of course, cocktails. Yes, cocktails, of course. So what cocktail were you making that needed those little umbrellas that we were talking about?
Well, I was just restocking the bar. We've got a new band and they like their slow screwdrivers with an umbrella, so we were low and I wanted to get ready for the evening rush.
Sir, I'm not really sure it matters what cocktail she was making. It's not exactly important to the case, is it?
I just can't stop thinking about those little umbrellas, Miss Perks. I'm sure they are vital to getting to the bottom of this.
So who else was there while you were restocking the bar?
Well, apart from the band setting up, Mr. Moneybags, the boss, was up in his office, I think, and Doug had just arrived to start his shift on the door.
Anyone?
Yes. Anyone else?
Oh, don't really know, Mr. Kapooey. I'm sorry. We sometimes get a few people in early and there are cleaners and the like during the afternoon.
So, we have a really orangey thing, several lost hours, a mysterious change of clothes, and some tiny little cocktail umbrellas. Anything else?
Not that I can think of.
Sorry, I don't mean to interrupt, but can I ask just one quick question?
Go ahead, Miss Perks, but remember that I am the detective around here, not you.
Great. So, what were you wearing before you passed out, and what were you wearing after?
Well, obviously I was wearing my uniform. I did say I was at work, but when I woke up, I was in my other clothes, the ones I usually wear at the end of my shift, kind of like what I'm wearing now.
I was just about to ask that. I do wish you'd stop jumping the gun. You are a secretary, Miss Perks, not a PI.
Yes, sir. Sorry, sir. Shall I go and make you a cup of tea then, sir?
If you wouldn't mind.
Mr. Kapooey, will you help me? Please? I need your help. My cocktails haven't been the same since this happened.
Miss McFlusie, I would love to hear more about your cocktails. Perhaps it's worth us travelling to your club to begin our investigation and discuss this further. Maybe we could start with a long, comfortable screw together. Does that one come with one of those little umbrellas? I do love the little umbrellas.
So, sir, what are you thinking?
We have an excellent opportunity here, Perks. The Wandering Cat Club is a den of iniquity. I have a feeling that Mr. Moneybags has some mob connections too. Even if we don't find out about this really orangey thing, we might get some leads on some of our other open cases.
To the club?
To the club. On y va.
Oh, hey Susie, where you been? I missed your pretty little face. Have a drink with me.
Oh, Doug, you know I don't drink with apes.
Oh, don't be like that. Mr. Moneybags is on to something big this time. You better start being nice to me. I'm moving up in the world.
Well, you couldn't exactly move down now, could you? I'm expecting some guests later, so play nicely. Ever heard of Hughie Kapooey?
The dick? Huh. I heard he was one of the best. Why is he coming here, Susie?
Well, I needed a bit of help with something.
Mr. Moneybags ain't going to like a detective sniffing around, Susie. You should have come to me if you wanted any help.
Ha!
Don't be like that. I'm sure I could help, I'm sure.
Listen, Doug, I haven't got time to chat. There are customers that need serving. And anyway, it's not the kind of help that you can give, if you know what I mean.
What are you saying, Susie?
Nothing, Doug. Just that Mr. Kapooey has some unique skills that I want to take advantage of.
What are you up to?
Nothing that you need to worry about, Doug. Nothing at all.
Doug, stop talking to Sarah and come here now. It's important.
Susie, sir.
I don't care what her name is. I need you to stop talking to her and come here now.
Yes, sir. On my way, sir.
And make me a drink. A whiskey. And make it a double, for goodness sake.
2 years I've worked here, and he still doesn't know my name.
Well, he's got a lot on his mind. Anyway, you heard him. Give me a whiskey.
Please wouldn't hurt.
Please.
Whatever.
Thank you, Susie.
Come along, Miss Perks. I am eager to try out some of those cocktails that you were talking about.
Mr. Kapooey, you came. Oh. But you're not alone.
Sorry, he needs me to take some notes.
Is something going on between you two? I mean, I don't want to get in the way if there is.
No.
Good God, no. Yuck. But why are you so interested, Miss McFlusie? You're not jealous, are you?
I just wondered. So, what can I get you to drink, Mr. Kapooey?
Why don't you surprise me? But make sure it's got one of those little umbrellas in it.
And for you, miss?
Oh, please, call me Penny. I'll take a Diablo.
Well, Perks, what do you think? Who should we speak to first?
Any sign of Mr. Moneybags? We need to figure out what he's up to.
No sign of anyone so far. I still can't quite figure out how those little umbrellas are involved, but they are somehow. Mark my words, they're important to this case.
If you say so, sir. Ooh, is that Max Moneybags' office up there?
Yes, I think you're right. I can see a shadow through the blinds. It looks like he's in some sort of meeting with someone, waving his arms about a lot. I wonder what that means.
Do you think we could get close enough to hear what's going on?
Oh, let's get our drinks and edge a little closer and see what we can pick up.
What about the mystery of the clothes change and the orange light? Any ideas on where we could start?
I need to take Miss McFlusie round the back and probe her a bit more. I mean, I need to have a private conversation with her. I need to explore her story. For goodness sake, I just need to have a little chat with her about where she was and what she was up to before all this happened. Must you make everything filthy, Perks?
Sir.
Okay, so I'll take McFlusie up the back passage. You try and get closer to Moneybags. No, wait. Here comes the band. Look, one of us needs to speak to them. I used to be a bit of a musician, so how about I talk to the band first?
And I'm sure that has nothing to do with the rather attractive young lady who appears to be their lead singer, sir.
Oh, I hadn't noticed, but now that you've mentioned it, she is rather attractive.
Your drinks?
Oh, yes. Would you look at that?
Well care. I don't bloody well care who they are. They need to be gone from my club. The last thing I need right now is the bloody law sniffing around. There's too much going on, Doug. Too much riding on the next few days. Get rid of them. No, actually, let me deal with them. What did you say his name was? Capone? Kapooey. And he's some sort of jumped-up private investigator, eh?
Oh, I better get back behind the bar.
Mr. Kapooey, is it? Welcome. Welcome to the Wandering Cat Club. What brings you here, sir? Oh, and with such a delightful lady friend.
Just the man. I assume that you are Mr. Max Moneybags, the owner of this establishment?
I am. But you haven't answered my question yet, Mr. Kapooey. What brings you here?
Well, you see, there was a screaming orgasm and a long, comfortable screw, and so I thought I'd better come along and check it all out.
My. You have been busy.
And then, of course, we got talking to your lovely barmaid.
Ah, yes. Samantha.
Susie.
Anyway, I'm so sorry to cut your visit short, Mr. Kapooey, but I've heard there's a storm on the way, so it's best that you make a move. I wouldn't want you to get wet.
Oh, that's okay. I've got an umbrella.
But, Mr. Kapooey, I really must insist that you leave. The weather outside is truly terrible, and remaining here might be dangerous.
It's no problem at all. It's not as though it's raining in here, and I'm rather enjoying my drink.
Nevertheless.
We're sorry to interrupt your regularly scheduled music program, but there has been a major art theft from the National Museum. Picasso's really orangey thing has disappeared without a trace. It is understood that the crime occurred sometime in the last week. However, detectives are unsure of the exact time frame, as the crime had been hidden by extensive renovation work ongoing at the museum. Updates to follow.
Sheila, turn that radio off.
My. A really orangey thing's gone missing. How peculiar.
If you'll excuse me, I really must, I need to, Doug!
Well, he seemed in rather a hurry to leave, didn't he, Perks? You don't think that the really orangey thing on the radio might have some connection to the really orangey thing that Susie saw, do you?
That really did seem rather to be the case, sir. And also, that Mr. Moneybags knows something about it going missing.
Psst. Susie! Susie!
What, Doug? I'm working.
The boss wants to know if you know anything about this really orangey thing that got nicked.
I don't know what you mean, Doug.
Is that why he's here? Did you know it had been taken?
Please, Doug, I don't know anything. I just need to understand what happened to me.
Well, if you think of anything, let me know, Susie. Okay?
Right. Time to see if those musicians know anything. Wait here.
And miss an opportunity to watch you making a prat out of yourself in front of a beautiful woman. Not a chance.
Hello. Nice to meet you, Mum. My name is Hughie Kapooey.
Sorry, can I help you? Can't you see we're busy? We've got to get ready for the show tonight.
I appreciate that, but I need to ask you a few questions. Miss...
My name's Eliza, and this is my band, the Doolittles.
Eliza and the Doolittles, eh? I hear you're the new house band around here. How long have you worked here?
Oh, nosy one, aren't you? It's been about 3 weeks, ain't that right, ladies?
Yeah, that's right. About 3 weeks, yeah.
And were you here on the day of Miss McFluesie's accident?
Well, if you mean the day that Susie drank too much and passed out in the storeroom, then yeah, we were here. We were setting up for the evening, just like we're trying to do now, except some daft bugger keeps getting in the way asking stupid questions.
Oh, goodness. How annoying for you. Well, perhaps I could help. Maybe I could get rid of him. Do you have a name or a description?
I think she means you, sir.
I can't imagine that she does, Perks. I'm absolutely adorable and charming. So, you say Miss McFlusie drank too much and passed out. That's not what she thinks happened. How do you know she'd been drinking?
What do you normally dance on the tables when you're sober?
Not usually. But there was one time in Paris.
She was so drunk that she had a little accident. I had to get one of the girls to get her clothes out of her bag and change her out of her uniform.
You don't say. So you're saying that you changed McFlusie's clothing? That is interesting.
Well, me and the girls. She's heavier than she looks.
And she had an accident, you say? Goodness me. Well, that doesn't sound like much fun. What about the really orangey thing? Did you see anything that fits that description while you were changing her clothes?
The only orangey things I saw were the endless cartons of orange juice in the storeroom. Should there have been anything else?
So you've not heard about the really orangey thing?
No idea what you're talking about.
Sir, might we have a little chat?
Does this mean you leave me alone to work?
I guess so. Perks, I'm all yours.
What do you think, sir? Was she telling the truth? Do you think we've been brought here on a wild goose chase?
Well, Eliza does give us a rather plausible explanation for the change of clothes, I suppose. But do you think if she just drank too much, she probably wouldn't go hunting down one of London's best private investigators? And what about the really orangey thing she saw? And where do the umbrellas come into it. You know, I'm not certain that Eliza and the Doolittles were telling the truth.
I'm not sure about umbrellas, sir, but it does seem rather odd. And a little too convenient. Have you ever seen an all-female band, sir?
No. And I don't think much of their setup. That cello player kept putting her finger in her F-hole, and her G-string was loose.
Sir!
The saxophone player really needs to practice her fingering and put it further into her mouth. She definitely was not using enough tongue. And do not get me started on the wrist motions. You'd think that drummer had never held a drumstick before. Oh, she was gripping far too tight. Oh, yes, I used to play in a band at school. My music teacher was very particular. He used to love a big group session after everyone else had gone home.
I see.
If you'll excuse me, Perks, it looks like I have a date with the bartender in the back room of the club.
Well, Doug, what do you think he knows? Is he going to be a problem? No, don't answer. Bring Kapooey here. He and I need to have a little chat. This is a really critical time for my operation. I can't have some PI coming here and messing things up. I need to find out what he knows and get rid of him, one way or another. What are you after, Mr. Kapooey?
Well, that's a difficult question to answer. Would a beautiful woman and a bag full of cash be too much to ask for? But seriously, I've just come for the cocktails. Everything else, just a bonus.
Do you play cards, Mr. Kapooey?
I've been known to dabble.
Excellent. Why don't we play a hand?
If that's what you'd like.
Oh, I find it's a good way to learn about the man across the table from me. Please, forgive my little whimsy. Doug, will you deal?
One, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13.
Doug. Now tell me, Mr. Kapooey, what do you know about the really orangey thing?
What do you know about the really orangey thing?
I asked first.
Yes, but I asked second.
Answer my question, Mr. Kapooey.
Please, call me Hughie. I'll show you mine if you show me yours.
I'm not showing you my anything, Mr. Kapooey.
I meant that I'll tell you what I know if you tell me what you know. Although if you want to show me your hand, that would be fun too.
I don't think you know anything, Mr. Kapooey. You're wasting my time.
The Really Orangey Thing, one of Picasso's more obscure works, first painted in 1904 as something of an explosive departure from his blue period, it had been thought lost until fairly recently, when it was found in a private collection and sent to the National Museum for safekeeping. But you're absolutely right. I know very little about it.
I'll concede that you do know something. Perhaps you're not quite the clown I thought you were. I didn't have you pinned down as an art lover.
I really must give Perks a pay rise.
Did you just say something?
Your turn, Mr. Moneybags. What do you know about it?
Oh, very little. Mr. Kapooey, very little indeed. Only that it's worth an awful lot of money should it be sold, and that whoever currently has their hands on it is sitting on a gold mine. Well, although only a fraction of what they might have got if they'd managed to get the certificate of authenticity too, which was held separately to the piece itself, of course, I imagine. I believe the owner had planned on selling both items at auction in coming weeks, but presumably now it will be sold on the black market somewhere.
So you have heard of it then?
Oh, just a little.
What I want to know, Mr. Moneybags, is why the really orangey thing was in your storeroom yesterday morning.
I have absolutely no idea what you mean, Mr. Kapooey. I'm not aware of the really orangey thing having ever been in my storeroom, or even in my club, for that matter.
I can't tell if you really believe that to be true or whether you're lying to me. And on that note, I believe I have just won. Do I need to say uno, or is that just a given? Right, I think I'll get another cocktail, and I believe there is a white Russian down in the club just waiting for me to get my hands on her.
Doug, is Sophie Russian?
You mean Susie, sir? I don't think so.
No, me neither. I wonder what he meant by that.
No idea, sir. Sir, would you like me to deal with him?
Oh, no, Doug. That won't be necessary. I have a feeling that Mr. Kapooey may be just what we need to help everything come together exactly the way we planned.
Mr. Kapooey? Mr. Kapooey, I wanted to apologise for being so rude earlier. I wondered if maybe you had a time for a private chat.
I knew you'd come round, Miss Lulittle. Miss Lulit. Miss Liza. It's the old Kapooey charm, eh?
Yeah. Charm. I thought it was important for us to clear the air. My bandmates told me I was really rude to you earlier, and for that I apologise. It's stressful work being the lead singer in a band, and I get very focused when I'm working. I'm sorry for snapping at you. Perhaps I can make it up to you in some way?
Well, now we're talking. What did you have in mind?
Oh, well, perhaps now isn't the best time. You seem distracted. Is the case you're working on stressful, Mr. Kapooey?
Nothing I can't handle, dollface. That's a funny word, isn't it? Dollface. I wonder who came up with that. Your face doesn't look like a doll at all. Not one bit. Well, apart from having eyes. And a nose. And that mouth. Well, I suppose it does mean you look a bit like a doll. Anyway, where was I? Oh, do you like my umbrella?
Very nice. You were telling me about your case, though?
Oh, well, there's nothing to tell, really. It's like you said, the girl got drunk and passed out. She probably imagined something orange. Maybe she had too many orange drinks. I had an orange drink. I had a few orange drinks. A slow screw. A slow screwdriver. Do you like a slow screw?
I've been known to have one or two after a gig.
I bet you have.
Mr. Kapooey, perhaps we should get you home. Is your secretary still around, or shall I help get you back?
Perks? Perks doesn't appear to be here.
Oh. Well, let's get you home then, Mr. Kapooey. Or, do you prefer Hughie?
Sir, did you call? I had to pop to the little girl's room. For goodness sake, where is he?
I just saw him leave. That singer. Oh, well, plenty more fish in the sea, I suppose.
He left? With Eliza? He was so drunk that he could barely string a sentence together, and he left with a woman.
Yes. Oh,
What is she up to?
is he always like that?
What? Lazy? Arrogant? Drunk? Yes, pretty much.
Oh, I meant charming, heroic, and has a way with the ladies.
Away with the ladies. Are you sure we're talking about the same man? He's an idiot. I have to help him get his shoes on the right feet in the morning. Okay, I exaggerate a little. But you could do so much better than Hughie Kapooey. I mean, look at you. You're gorgeous, vivacious, and friendly too. I mean, I would kill to have hair like yours. And those cocktails you make, good grief, you'll have to show me how you make that Diablo. It was the best I've ever had.
Do you really think so? That I could do better? The only guy that ever shows any interest in me is Doug, and occasionally some really drunk bloke behind the bar. I was beginning to worry that I was doing something wrong.
Oh, sweetheart, you could have any guy you want. If I had half of your personality, I'd be lethal.
That's kind of you to say, Miss Perks.
Please, call me Penny.
Okay, Penny. I'm sorry if we got off on the wrong foot. I was a bit jealous when I first met you because you have a real job working for a famous private investigator. I'm just a cocktail waitress in a sleazy club.
It's not all it's cracked up to be, believe me. Besides, I was probably a bit standoffish too. You're so stunning that I assumed we wouldn't get along. And there's no just about it. You have a real talent for making drinks. Have you ever thought about learning to cook as well?
I'd love to train to be a chef, but it's such a hard job to get into, especially if you're a woman. No one takes you seriously.
I know. Trust me.
Can I get you another drink?
I know exactly how that feels. Oh my God, I've got it. I've figured it out. I'm really sorry, but I have to run. I promise we can carry this conversation on another time.
Oh.
Soho Police Station, you're through to Sergeant Pipps. Unless it's urgent, I suggest you hang up as I'm extremely busy.
It's me, your secret informant, Shallowneck. I have information about the really orangey thing, theft.
I'm listening.
Come to the Wandering Cat Club tomorrow at 2 p.m. and you'll be able to make an arrest. Don't come in uniform.
Oh, bloody hell, it's Kapooey again, isn't it? He solved another case before my team even got a hint of a clue.
I'm not at liberty to give any more information.
Listen to me, sir, or madam, or whoever you are. Listen, you sneaky bugger. Tell me who you are and how you know that Kapooey has cracked another case, or there will be trouble. Every time. Every bloody time. Oh.
Oh, my head.
Serves you right.
Ugh, my tongue feels like a flange of baboons has danced a conga along its length, shedding hair as it went. I have to ask, did I knock everything off my desk, or was that you?
I wouldn't know, sir. I didn't help you home for once.
You left me? In that state? Good Lord, Perks. Heartless.
I did not leave you, sir. You left with someone else.
I did? Are you sure? Well, well, well. Miss McFlusie finally succumbed to my charms.
No, sir.
No? Well, if you didn't help me home and I didn't take McFlusie home with me, then who on earth did I go home with? Wait. It wasn't the bouncer, was it? Is that why my head hurts this much? Did I get thrown out?
No, sir, not the bouncer. You were left with the singer, sir.
The singer? Are you sure? She didn't seem particularly impressed earlier in the day, and I don't remember a thing. How odd. Oh, well, never mind. Look, now, why are we back at the club? I still haven't figured out what's going on, nor how those little umbrellas are involved in... who do we need to question now?
If you'll forgive me, sir, I have an idea. Let's just wait here for a bit and see who turns up.
Whatever you say, Perks, but please get me something to drink to soothe this headache.
What can I get for you? Oh, it's you.
Miss McFlusie, what a pleasure it is to see you today. I would like to apologise for any offence I caused you. It seems that those delightful cocktails were a little stronger than I thought. Perhaps something slightly less strong might be in order today.
I'll have a cup of tea for now, Susie. Thank you. I suspect he'll have a coffee.
Coming right up.
Mr. Kapooey, you're back. What an unwelcome surprise. What brings you here again?
I just couldn't wait to see you again, Mr. Moneybags.
Delightful.
You love me, really.
Kapooey, a little bird told me you'd solved my case. I'm listening.
Sergeant Pipps, how delightful to see you. I'm a little under the weather right now, but I'm sure Perks here can help you out.
Come on, Kapooey. I haven't got all day. Get to the bloody point.
Kapooey, who is this man?
Mr. Moneybags, I'd like to introduce you to a good friend of mine, Sergeant Pipps, who loves to turn up just in time to make an arrest. On that note, Perks?
Wait for it.
Mr. Moneybags, I regret to inform you that... Oh. It's you.
Eliza, what a delight to see you.
Yeah, yeah.
Something wrong?
No, no.
Were you still expecting Hughie to still be asleep? Especially after the amount of horse tranquilizers you slipped into his drink last night. I mean, he should have slept until this evening, right? The funny thing about Hughie Kapooey is that he's been drugged so many times that he shakes it off quicker than anyone I've ever met. While he can't hold his drink, he doesn't usually forget what he's been up to in the night before. In fact, he's been known to remember every little embarrassing detail. Even that one time in Paris when he danced on the tabletops.
I think you'll find that I was as sober as a judge that night, Miss Perks. You, on the other hand, were quite a different story.
I don't know which judges you've been hanging around, sir, but you certainly weren't sober. So, Eliza.
I don't know what you mean. And if you'll excuse me, I need to go find my band.
Don't let us detain you. But before you go, what was it you were going to say to Mr. Moneybags?
I was...
You regret to inform Mr. Moneybags that...
Oh, for goodness sake, spit it out.
I regret to inform you that I need to leave. Right now, you need to find a new band for tonight.
I wouldn't let her leave if I were you.
Dog, see to it that Eliza doesn't leave.
Yes, sir.
Miss Perks, was it? Do go on.
I had my suspicions about Eliza early on. It all seemed rather convenient that she casually had an explanation for Susie passing out and changing clothes. And my suspicions were only made worse when Hughie here pointed out that her band couldn't play their instruments. But I couldn't figure out why they would be here in the club after committing the crime of the century. nor why Eliza needed to steal Susie's uniform.
Wait, she stole my uniform? Why on earth would she do that?
Stole your uniform, eh? Did you report this crime to the appropriate authorities?
Why do you think Mr. Kapooey is here?
That's not what I meant.
Now, Sergeant, don't be bitter.
Bitter? Bitter? You bloody well stole my case, you... Oh!
Will somebody please explain to me why this woman stole my uniform?
Don't worry, Miss McFlusie. I didn't for 1 second believe that you drunk too much and passed out after soiling your clothes. I knew she was lying.
Soiling my clothes? You told them that I soiled my clothes.
Actually, I told him you shit yourself, but he's too polite to say that.
You bitch.
Now, ladies, let's not fight.
Couldn't we let them fight a little bit? I mean, we could throw beer on them and let the punters pay to watch.
Oh, piss off, Doug.
Do go on, Miss Perks.
Well, it was something you said to Hughie, Mr. Moneybags, about needing the certificate of authenticity. He thought that you were the person who stole the really orangey thing, but you're not. Far from it. In fact, from what I can tell, you're the owner of the really orangey thing. I think I read somewhere that you recently lost an aunt who was an art collector. I assume that's where you found it loaded to the National Museum.
Very good, Miss Perks. Very good. Yes, my great-aunt Martha Moneybags was a notorious hoarder, and she left all of her art to me. Well, most of it was absolute rubbish, but there, amongst the trash, was a lost Picasso, together with its certificate of authenticity. I couldn't believe my luck. Doug was helping me to organize the sale, but I knew we couldn't keep it here safe in the club. So I asked the museum to look after it for me.
We was very worried when we heard that it'd been stolen, but we still had the certificate up in Mr. Moneybags' safe.
You might want to check on that one, sir.
Do as she says, Doug.
What? It's gone, sir.
What?
Well, it looked like it was still there, but when I unrolled it, it was just sheet music.
What?
Don't worry, it hasn't left the building yet. In fact, why don't you check her bag?
You can't do that. That's my private property. I don't give you permission.
Doug, please check Eliza's bag for my certificate.
And give me my bag back.
I'm guessing Eliza and her band stole the really orangey thing in the confusion of the museum renovation. They probably just posed as cleaners. Everyone always overlooks a group of women coming and going. After all, women can't be master thieves. Private investigators.
Or chefs.
Are you saying that a bunch of women stole a priceless piece of art from the bloody National Museum?
And what's wrong with that, Sergeant?
Women? I find that very hard to believe, Kapooey.
It's here.
Are you sure it's actually the certificate this time and not some folded up sheet music?
Well, I need to do a full chemical composition analysis, but it certainly looks like the certificate. What? Just because I don't look smart don't mean I'm stupid. I happen to be studying chemical analysis at King's College. I'm only working here to pay the school fees. It's not cheap becoming a chemist, you know.
But I still don't understand why she stole my uniform or why I passed out.
She needed access to Mr. Moneybags' office, and you go in there every afternoon to sort out the petty cash. All she had to do was pose as you, and she could make her way in and access the safe to switch out the certificate with a decoy. Timing was crucial, and she knew that Mr. Moneybags popped out every afternoon at the same time to clean his teeth before locking up and heading out to walk his pet chihuahua.
Oh, we look nothing alike.
Ah, true. But Mr. Moneybags can't even remember your name, let alone remember what you look like. As far as he's concerned, one woman looks like any other, especially wearing a Wandering Cat Club uniform.
Well, now that you mention it, I did wonder if you changed your hair color a couple of days ago.
I see. But how could she know I'd be in the back room in the afternoon?
Do you remember when we first met? You mentioned the band and...
Oh, God! And that they insisted on having...
The little paper umbrellas in their drinks. I knew it. It's all down to the bloody umbrellas. I'm a bloody genius.
Well, yes, sir. The umbrellas, as it turned out, were vital to the case. So, all she had to do was wait until you headed into the back room to follow you in and knock you out. Was it chloroform or a sedative, Eliza?
Tranquilizer dart, if you must know. One of my girls hid in the back room, and when she went in and turned the lights on, she took the shot. I knocked her out, took her uniform, and then I went up, took the certificate while the girls kept watch for me. We were back and setting up before she even woke up.
Hold on. If she stole the certificate 2 days ago, why is she only making an excuse about leaving now?
It'd look suspicious if they disappeared immediately, so they had to wait a day or two to be sure it wasn't obvious. And then we turned up.
Well, I had to make sure that he didn't know anything or have any suspicions. So I thought I'd use my charms to find out what he knew.
So, you drugged me and ransacked my office, eh?
All I found was a bunch of useless rubbish and a doodle of some sort of weird blobby thing.
That was meant to be a sketch of my mother.
As soon as she realised that you didn't have anything that could pin the crime on her, she could hand in her notice and move off.
Well, I didn't count on you being the brains of the outfit.
No one ever does.
This is all very well, but where in the name of hell is my really orangey thing?
That I haven't quite worked out.
Ah, I can solve that one. Just a minute. Ouch. Put that there. Ta-da!
Where the hell was that?
Where else? In the back room, hidden amongst the orange juice cartons. That's why they've taken so many so many screwdrivers, to make sure there was plenty of space to hide it.
Congratulations, Kapooey. You've done it again. Another bloody crime solved by the great Hughie Kapooey.
Oh, thank you, Mr. Kapooey.
Take her away, Sergeant Pipps.
Right you are, sir. Come here, you.
Doug, let's get my artwork and certificate back to my office. I think it's time we changed the combination on my safe.
Yes, sir.
We interrupt this broadcast to bring you breaking news. Hughie Kapooey does it again. The really orangey thing has been found and returned to its owner by the famous private investigator, Hughie Kapooey.
So, Miss McFlusie, perhaps we could continue where we left off. Would you perhaps like to go for a drink with me?
I'm afraid I have other plans.
Oh. Well, what about you, Perks? Have a drink with me to celebrate another case solved.
Sorry, sir. I can't.
Oh. Well, in that case, guess I'll head home.
Doesn't it annoy you that he gets all the credit? You did all the hard work. You solved the case.
I don't mind. He pays me well, and I get to travel and do a job that I love. At the end of the day, as long as he gets the credit, he's the one with the target on his back. Besides, people that matter most really know who solved the case.
So, we're going for that drink now.
I'd like that. I'd like that a lot, thank you.